Now, Victorian taxpayers were billed $180,000 by Premier Daniel Andrews' political strategist in the space of 4 months for conducting research on the lockdown and other pandemic-related issues. Remember when Victorians were told this wasn't about being popular, but it was about doing what was right? Well, it turns out that polling was being done behind the scenes. Here's Daniel Andrews justifying the expenditure today.
We locked people in their homes for like 2 years. If anyone's suggesting that I did that because I wanted to be popular, I think they're rather missing the point.
Steve Price, columnist for the Saturday Herald Sun, joins me to discuss this and the other big stories of the day now. Steve, what are your thoughts on this? This is a big front page in The Australian today by Damon Johnson, and we're going to speak to Rachel Baxendale in a moment. What do you think? His office using taxpayer-funded research to gauge how Victorians were feeling about the lockdown.
Yeah, it's great work by The Australian, Shari. They took 2 years to get this information under freedom of information, and it's given every Victorian and Melburnian, me included today, I think, PTSD, because you've got to remember, this bloke locked us down 6 times. We were the longest lockdown capital city on the planet, on Earth, and we now find out that he's spending taxpayers' money to do surveys on what people were thinking about those lockdowns that he was imposing on us. It's outrageous. He should not have been spending that money. And for him to dissemble like he normally does again today and say, oh, well, it's no big deal. I wasn't doing it about my own popularity. Of course he was doing that. That's exactly what he was doing, Shari.
Look, and as I said, we'll bring in Rachel Baxendale on that in a moment. But look, another topic in Victoria, Steve. Anger is boiling over among residents in the Melbourne suburb of North Richmond after Daniel Andrews announced that the safe injecting room trial will become permanent. You actually went to the area yesterday. What was the local reaction and what did you see?
Yeah, I went there. Dan Andrews didn't. Where do you think the Victorian Premier Daniel Andrews, Shari, did that media conference announcing that this trial that's been underway since 2018 for a drug room in North Richmond, where did he do that media conference? Well, he did it outside his office in a park in the middle of the city. He didn't even have the guts to go out to North Richmond, to Lennox Street like I did, and have a look at what was going on there. He didn't have the guts to go and have a media conference out the front of that facility because he well knows that local residents would have come down and shouted him down. It is appalling what's gone on there. They have turned this suburb, and I walked up and down Victoria Street, which used to be a fabulous restaurant strip. The Vietnamese came out here and set their restaurants up in that street. It's now a ghetto. It is the worst suburb in all of Australia, and I've lived in many of the capital cities. It is appalling. And on the day that I was there was a group of Indigenous men out the front, all waiting to get into the drug injecting room. And right round the corner, as I went round the back of the building, there was a woman and a bloke. She had a leather strap around her arm, injecting herself with heroin. This is next to a school, Shari. Now, what idiot bureaucrat thought that it would be a good idea to stick an injecting facility, and don't forget, they can inject ice as well in there, right next to a primary school? It's madness.
Yeah, I'm sure parents are furious about that. That's going to be an ongoing issue. Now, Senator Lydia Thorpe has demanded an apology from the Greens today, her former party, after an inquiry into her relationship with a former bikie cleared her of contempt. Here's what she had to say.
All you people thought that I had been running off with some bikie gang telling secrets about what goes on in this place. What kind of person do you think I am?
Steve, Thorpe claims she and the former bikie just kissed once. What do you make of all of that?
One kiss only. Well, I guess we've got to take Lydia Thorpe at her word. However, that performance in the Senate, again, I just think shows that Lydia Thorpe does not deserve to be an Australian senator. She shouldn't be in the Senate. And I think she's going to be waiting for a very long time before Adam Bandt speaks to her, let alone issues her with an apology.
Yeah, I think you're right there. Melbourne Airport, what about this? Melbourne Airport has revealed its 2025 gender target, making a commitment of 40-40-20. 40% men, 40% women and 20% fluid. What do you think?
Well, not only did they do that, today, as we know, is International Women's Day, so they were making big noise about the fact that a flight from Melbourne to Brisbane was going to be crewed by an all-female flight crew. Now, good on them, that's fantastic. But when I get on a plane, I just want to know that the person flying it's actually a good pilot and that I'll actually be able to safely get to my destination. I don't care about what sex the person is who's doing the flying up the front. As for the 40-40-20, I mean, that really does worry me. Surely we're hiring the best baggage handlers, the best air traffic controllers, the best pilots, the best stewards, not the person because of their sex. And where are they going to find this other 20% is completely beyond me.
Yeah, I mean, you'd think it would be inappropriate to ask someone their gender or their sexuality in a job interview as well. Steve Price, thank you very much for your thoughts, and we'll see you next week on Wednesday.